I'm good. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about the growth of tourism in Niagara Falls, and I've been lucky enough to go to Niagara Falls twice the last 2 years with my summer camp in Canada. And these are just what we're going to set out to, what I hope you'll learn by the end of this. So basically, why is tourism so important to Niagara Falls, and basically how has it got to the place that it is today, is what I would like you to learn. So Niagara Falls is situated on the American-Canadian border, which you can see here, between Ontario and New York. And it is a collection of 3 waterfalls: the American Falls, the Bridal Veil Falls, and the Horseshoe Falls, which are the Canadian falls. And it's situated on the Niagara River, which runs from Lake Ontario, which is where Toronto is. They have a drop of 165 feet, which, trust me, whenever you're there, you do not want to fall in. I heard so many stories about tourists who've been blown in with umbrellas and died. And it formed about 12,000 years ago when glaciers melted, and it went back ever since. So tourism in Niagara Falls is a year-round activity. Tourists go all year round to see it, especially when it's frozen over in winter. But the peak season is summer, and it's estimated 22.5 million tourists visit Niagara Falls a year. And it's a day and a night attraction, with it being illuminated. You can see American Falls illuminated in the background there, and it's been illuminated since the Prince of Wales visited in the 19th century. And it is a vital part of the economy of tourism since the 19th century, with the city of Niagara Falls in Ontario, which is where I've been twice, growing up around the tourism industry. The first tourists really began to come to Niagara Falls in the 1820s, and that's when the tourist industry really began in the area. The first hotel was built in 1833 called Clifton House. It's no longer there, unfortunately, and the city began to grow around that. In the 1800s, 2 main attractions was built in Niagara Falls, and they're still around today, which is unbelievable to me that they're still around 200 years later. And they are the Maid of the Mist, where you get to wear these lovely ponchos and you get to go to ferries right up into the falls, and Journey Behind the Falls, which is where you can walk up to within 150 feet of the falls. As the city and tourism grew, it grew due to rail links and a bridge which was built from the American side to the Canadian side, which allowed easy access between the two. And it was mainly small-scale community tourism which began at the beginning. As you can see with this is the first Maid of the Mist, and it's a very small boat. It looks sort of like a fishing boat, not like the ones that you would see today. In the 20th century, Niagara has really grown, and it's become more globalised with tourism, with more like mass tourism taking hold, and more like the Hilton is there, Madame Tussauds is there, so it's more like something that you would see all around the world. In the early 1900s, it was called the honeymoon capital of the world, and as you can see, these two look really happy to be in Niagara Falls, and their honeymoon, not really. After World War I, automobiles led to tourism growing even more, but this was affected by the boom and bust of the 1930s. However, after World War II, tourism was restored in Niagara Falls due to more prosperity in the region, and more hotels and attractions began to open. Some big names like the Marriott Hotel, Madame Tussauds, the Rainforest Cafe are all in Niagara Falls. However, what really changed the face of Niagara Falls was the opening of Louis Tussauds Wax Museum, and it sort of turned Niagara Falls, it's very tacky. I would say, like, whenever you walk the street, it's very tacky, it reminds you of like Blackpool kind of thing, like it's very tourist driven. And this has been the way that Niagara Falls has been since. As you can see from the bottom picture, like Planet Hollywood, there's haunted houses the whole way up it, things like that. A golf course with dinosaurs in it, that whenever you get hole in one, a volcano explodes. Then in the 1990s, casinos brought gambling to Niagara Falls, and you get a lot of pensioners who come and gamble their fortune. So what is the future for Niagara Falls? Tourism is Niagara Falls' largest employer. The main attraction is still the falls, with the Maid of the Mist and things, which were developed in the 1800s. But will people still come to those attractions in the future? Does it need to diversify, is the main question to keep tourists in Niagara Falls. So, that's it.